Well, look who made it back. Yo, thank you for supporting the channel. We got a bunch of episodes filled with info on how we host, funny guest story with your boy Tay, current news with Shellie, and special guest appearances. Also feature some local music artists for the outro, so make sure you stick around to the end, my friend, and peep all the links in the description. Dropping gems. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
All right. Let's get it. Shellie, you got some news for us in the legal world of short-term rental. Do share with the class.
We back, y'all. We back, cause we back, y'all. All right, so Florida law. So if you guys recall, we talked about a bill that was before the state House and Senate. I'm going to talk to you guys about it. I want you to know that the bill has been ordered, engrossed, and enrolled. Okay?
Ordered,
engrossed, and enrolled.
Engrossed.
Okay.
I heard that number. Hey, I know someone listening right now. I was like, engrossed? What she mean by engrossed? So I just had to, we'll look that up on our own time.
I'm going to just tell you what it means because I'm sitting here shaking my head.
We're going to look that up.
So basically, it's been amended, right? So that's what engrossed, another word for it's been amended.
Tomato.
This one several times actually. But the key thing is it's passed, right? So it's enrolled. So it has passed and it is now being converted from a bill to an act to be presented to the governor to sign into a Florida law. So
it's right
the
there.
time to kind of get out there and impact how your senators voted or didn't vote has passed. However, you can go online. And so again, we'll make sure we got this link out here again to look to see who voted yay, who voted nay. So you know
where they stand,
where your representatives stood on these issues, whether you reached out to them or not. So these are impacting short-term rentals and actually food for those that provide food in their short-term rental. So annual registration requirements with a fee.
Of course.
Okay. So there will be that. They will have the right, local government, so in our case counties, will have the right to do an inspection of your short-term rental. Obviously, again, with a fee.
Oh,
okay.
Lovely.
Yeah. So now it's not just like, throw my house out there. They can actually say, hey, we want to inspect your place. Make sure it's up to code. And because we're requiring that, you have to pay the fee first to do so.
Hey, you had an awesome deal for you.
Awesome deal. The local government is authorized to fine vacation rentals. Okay. They're not complying with things, suspend their vacation rental registration. So what's going to be different is you'll have to be licensed by the state of Florida, but registered by your counties if your county requires that. And we know ours will, right? Because right now we're licensed by our counties. So that part will change. You will be licensed by the state. And, you'll have to register with the county. So I'm sure there are fees for all of those things.
You gotta love the fees. You get a fee.
That's right.
Everybody gets a fee.
That's right. So you'll have to go ahead and register before you start short-term renting, but they will be able to give you like temporary licenses as they go through the process, but you can't start before, or else again you'll be subject to a fine.
You think there'll be like a window where you have to do all this? Like
yes,
registering?
July 1st is when a lot of things go in effect. July 1st, 2024. There's some things that are going to be 2025, and there's some things that are 2026.
Okay.
So they're giving
a little rollout.
Yeah, they're giving some time for people to kind of get some things together. Here's one of the biggies, especially for people who have direct booking sites, but this is going to impact sites like Vrbo, Booking.com, Airbnb as well. They are going to require that your license and possibly registration number be displayed on the booking site. So again,
Just to verify that you are
legal. Absolutely. So that's coming. Okay. Of course, you'll have to have it up in your home, but I think that's already a requirement for us in Santa Rosa, that it's displayed in your home. They're going to give the platforms until 2025 to remove any from public view any listing that does not provide the stuff that is required. So Airbnb doesn't have to change it tomorrow. Well, it's not signed yet, right? Mm-hmm. So they wouldn't have to change it like immediately. They're going to have time, but after a certain date, they're going to be required to remove people. Again, they're upon request, all those sites will have to share reports of, you know, the taxes and all that stuff. They'll have to collect the taxes. Again, your own personal booking site, you will have to charge it as a separate line item. And here's the thing that was interesting. You have to collect it from the guest, the renter or the lessor. So you can't just say, oh, I'm going to just pay it.
Okay.
It has to be collected from them at the time of booking.
Well, that's easier.
That's easier. I don't have a problem with that. So, and then of course you will pay them and all that good stuff. So those are kind of the major highlights. One of the other interesting things is obviously it impacts those that rent for less than 30 days. It also impacts those that rent more than 30 days. So
that's everybody, right?
Everyone who has if that's not going to be their permanent residence. So like if I have someone lease and they're going to live here and they're going to get mail here and that's going to be their personal residence.
Gotcha.
Then they're good. So long-term rentals, but your mid-term rental market, they coming for you too.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Yeah. I was actually surprised to see that. They talk about the food. There are some exclusions, but they're, they have a whole list of things where food is concerned. I didn't go into that real deep because I don't do it, but I did note the exclusions. So because I do provide some complimentary things for my guests. So it says that
I give them some cupcakes.
Any place of business where the food available for consumption is limited to ice, beverages with or without garnishment, popcorn, or prepackaged items sold without additions or preparation, or vending machine that just dispenses the food, they're exempt.
Okay.
So
like a bag of chips, you good.
Exactly.
But
our cupcakes,
you got a little, what's it called, charcuterie board or whatever they call it?
Right. Those things, not so much. Right. So that's shifted things because I was a cupcake girl. So
I'm wondering how many issues they didn't have, or is this just a way to get money? Like, were a lot of people getting contaminated from hosts not really preparing the food that they had at their place as well, and people were getting sick and there was complaints? Was there people like, man, these people don't really have a good home that they're renting out, there's some bugs, there's all this stuff in there? Like, this seems to be a very deliberate and like widespread kind of regulation that I'm like, were these issues, or are you guys just trying to nickel and dime anywhere you can, hoping people are just like not on top of it so y'all can collect some monies? Like, I'm just curious, because I'm like, this is the timing of it, because this has been out for how long?
Well,
I mean, talking about like these rental hosts, like hosting, like all these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's been going on for a long time. Like, why are these regulations coming up all of a sudden?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking I think the hotel industry has a lot to do with it, because they have to comply with all of these regulations.
So they over there lobbying.
I think so.
More regulation on the rental, short-term rental, mid-term.
Right, because we don't have, us individual, hosts, we don't have a whole conglomerate. We can spread this out like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, we were a major disruptor to their business. So if you can minimize that, then that would be help. And so I think, I know one of the things that they've been arguing is it's not fair. We have all of these regulatory requirements that we are required to meet, and these people do not, but yet they're kind of providing a similar service. So I want to give Florida props that they didn't go overkill like New York.
Right.
But I think they had to do something to kind of appease them as well.
I mean, they're a big player in the state. You got to keep that in mind, that these are institutions that have been here for a long time. So they got relationships, they got money, they got pool. They probably been knocking on this door for a long time too. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it just smells like this has been pushed by a group. And then all of a sudden people are like, all right, we got to do something. They've been like, maybe legal actions were threatened behind the scenes. It's like, we're going to get some lawyers on our governing bodies, because y'all are taxing us and doing all these things to us, and y'all don't do it to them.
Well, I don't think they can do legal action, because our governing bodies make the law. There was no law that required these things.
Right.
But I think it was like, hey, I might take my toys and go home. You know what I'm saying? You may not have
just moving the businesses outside the state
or something, and again, if I'm losing money, then I can't pay you.
Right.
State. So I'm sure it's a lot of things that were involved. And again,
that'd be a good thing if anybody who's listening, if y'all could comment how much our state, Florida, gets in revenue from the hotel industry, like getting some numbers, like how much do they contribute to? Like, I would like to know if anyone.
I'm
can
sure
find
it's
that
significant.
Out. Yeah,
it's got to be.
Yeah,
I'm sure, and not just vacation. Like people, you come here for work stuff. Like I remember we had something when I was I lived in New Mexico at the time. There was a whole Disney customer service model concept, and so they flew us into Orlando. It was a vacation. It was work. But who didn't want to sign up for that trip? Right? So I think it's a lot. But here's one that I thought was interesting that's in the law that I didn't anticipate. Designate and maintain at all times a responsible party who is capable of responding to complaints of emergencies related to the vacation rental, including being available by telephone at a provided contact telephone number 24 hours a day.
Y'all hear how she
7
slowed that down?
Days a week.
And emphasize this, because that phrase of words right there is so powerful. You got a job 24/7. You won't call 24/7.
Right. And I'm going to read it again just to make sure. Okay. It starts at line number 509 in case anybody wants to look it up. Designate and maintain at all times a responsible party who is capable of responding to complaints or emergencies related to the vacation rental, including being available by telephone at a provided contact telephone number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and receiving legal notice of violations on behalf of the vacation rental operator.
So pretty much, at bare minimum, people have to be able to reach out to you at all times. Or
Correct.
Whoever you have managing.
Correct.
It doesn't mean you have to like do whatever needs to be done. Like someone's getting broke, got to be there to fix it at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But it's like, hey, we'll be there in the morning to fix it.
Right.
Leave it alone. So.
But also it's complaints, not just the emergency. So if you have a neighbor who's complaining at 2 o'clock in the morning, people have got to be able to reach you. Again, I don't know if the expectation is that you're going to resolve the complaint at 2 o'clock in the morning, but they got to be able to reach you.
Yeah.
Please govern yourselves for their church announcements.
Wow.
We'd like for you to hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm, especially for a new channel like us. And Donte's experienced a lot of rejection, so he needs some likes in his life.
Somebody like me, please.
Also, please subscribe. Hit the notification button so you'll know when something new drops. Our giveaways are specific to our subscribers, so please subscribe so you can participate.
And ask us some questions. Leave us some comments.
Don't forget to share, because sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. The other thing that I thought was very interesting, and I didn't see this one coming either. It's right behind that. It starts at line number 515. Anyone wants to look it up on the bill. State and comply with the maximum overnight occupancy of the vacation rental, which does not exceed either 2 persons per bedroom. You heard it. Plus an additional 2 persons in one common area. Or more than 2 persons per bedroom. The max occupancy will not exceed more than 2 persons per bedroom if there is at least 50 square feet per person, plus an additional 2 persons in one common area, whichever is greater. So you know how you'll see where you've got like 2 bunk beds or 3 bunk beds and da-da-da.
Right.
They have put a maximum occupancy based on the square footage of the room, basically, because they're saying if it's more than 2 person per bedroom, then it has to be at least 50 square feet per person. Now, I don't know if you know what the kind of average bedroom square foot, right, just for the regular single family home average, a secondary bedroom. I'm not talking to masters are generally a little bit larger.
It's like 10, 12.
It can be about a little over 100 square feet, somewhere like 100. Some could be 120, 130 square feet. So if they're saying 50 square feet per person, if you want 3 people in there, you got to have at least 150 square foot bedroom.
Right. Which is not common.
Not for secondary.
Yeah. So
pretty
much it's going to limit everyone's ability to put
just throw in a bunch of beds.
Yeah.
Oh, I got these 2 bunk beds in here and these 2 bunk beds in here. It's going to limit the occupancy.
Here's a question. Did they say or specify about like kids?
It did not. It did not. It did not at all.
Because I had a family stay in my room one time, like a mom, a dad, a kid, a baby, you know, and I'm like, according to this, is a person that 8-year-old too, that 12-year-old,
According to this,
the 1-year-old,
because it didn't, yeah, it just says 50 square feet per person. Like, obviously, we've had people who have an infant, you know,
yeah,
and, you know, a lot of parents, they'll sleep with their kid, you know, if they're little babies. But they're saying 50 feet, that's your maximum occupancy. I didn't see that one coming in this law.
yeah.
So, and again, this is already, as I said, it's already engrossed. It's already, you know, enrolled.
Is that even like the hotels even that kind of regulation? I mean, the rooms are a little bit bigger, I guess, but is it meeting those
I don't know.
requirements?
I don't know.
You know, because that seems like I'm okay with doing fair play. You know, if a group has to do rules and I gotta do rules too because they do, I'm like, okay. I might not like it,
But I think they probably do.
But if they, that's something I would look into. Like, I'd be like, y'all rooms ain't 150, but you got, or it is 150 square feet, but you got 4 people in there. You allow 4 people in there, 2 a bed, whatever. I'm just like, or
well,
bed,
when you
whatever.
have the ones with the 2 beds, those to me are a little bit bigger.
I mean, I'm not getting specific, but just in general, I'm wondering if the hotels follow that same kind of guideline with limiting amount of people per square feet of the room. I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
That seems low.
But
Seems a little sus.
so I thought that was very interesting.
If the people want to stay ganged up in a room, who are you to tell them they can't? What's going on? Like, what's the reasoning behind it? Is it like a fire hazard? Is it said you have?
It could be.
I mean, I know it could be, but a lot of things that could be. People should have. People have been making decisions based off what could be for generations. So, if the people want to risk it, let them risk it. If we want to risk it, let us risk it. But that's a wild one. It is a wild one to me. It's a wild one.
Yeah, I didn't. So that was one I definitely wanted to put out there. And it's interesting because I was literally, I have a 4-bedroom and mine actually, you know, I have, 4 beds, sleeps 8. I don't let people sleep on my couch and stuff in mine. But I had just said to someone, I said, I might consider getting some of those really nice air mattresses because my living room is huge.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it also said for common areas too. The other thing is I know that there are people who it's not a legal bedroom, right? So it might be a bonus room because there are certain requirements legally by code that you have to be able to be a bedroom.
Loophole.
Right. And so you have to have a closet, you have to have egress, right, for it to be.
I'm just hearing move to the garage.
Bonus room over that, over the garage, a lot of them are, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, but even the common areas, based on this, is still limited to 2.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know how big it is.
yeah, I just thought that was very, very interesting that was slipped in this bill as well.
Man, older I get, more I don't like. No.
Yeah.
Man, but it's man, yeah, that's definitely some pretty significant changes coming and being enforced. So
what do you see happening as a result?
I mean, obviously, I would assume it's going to make people leave the space because they don't want to follow those regulations. Well, that's one thing. Second thing is,
Don't want to pay those fees.
there's going to be people who are going to get penalized and then probably get out of the space. Probably going to be people contesting this at some level. I don't know how many people, but I'm sure there's going to be some pushback. And then I think the people who are already very committed, who have this system set up and who are like prepared for things because they know these things tend to happen if you're in a game long enough, you're going to get these things. So they're just going to be like, we deal with it. And we make sure we price accordingly. We make sure we just follow as much as possible. So I think you'll probably get, in our area, I think a lot of the people in this space are pretty seasoned. I mean, I'm like a newer person in this space, just like you. Everyone else I know, I'm like, I just talked to a guy in my real estate investment business who was Airbnb for the last 4 years and was like, we're doing fine in Pensacola, but I'm not. So he don't even think about it. So whatever this happens, I'm sure he's just like, this is a very small thing. So I think most people are going to be fine. You got a small percentage of people who are just going to get out, but they're probably already struggling.
Right. And that's what I think. I think, one, it's going to reduce the number of people who get into short-term rental.
Yeah.
Because you and I both know, we even talked about it on one of our previous podcasts. How much did you need to start?
Yeah.
Right? You didn't need much to start. Now you got to be licensed with the state. You got to be registered with the county. You got to ... Airbnb's service fees have gone up. They have done things like penalize you if you have a cleaning fee.
Yeah.
A lot has changed just in the last how long we've been doing it.
I got in right before.
Right, didn't we? Like we yeah, you know what I'm saying? It definitely
Like going to school and then you get in, you're fresh, and you're like, then the next year they're like, actually dress code, but everyone who's grandfathered then don't got it. And you're like, okay. But yeah, it is crazy because I'm like, man, it was just this time last year. I was getting my first thing. It was pretty smooth.
Really?
Jumping all these hoops, all these things happening. A year later.
Exactly.
1 year later, literally.
Right. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
So I remembered I was mad this time last year because I wanted to start for President's Day weekend, and my son was still there and hadn't gotten his butt out of the house yet. Mm-hmm. So I was mad this time last year because I was like, you messing with my timetable, right? So but again, you know what it took to be in the space, it wasn't. So just a lot has changed in 12 months.
Yes.
Right. So so I do think again, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like we talked about, I think it'd be very easy for people to pivot to long-term rental, and I think that is really what the state wants to happen. To address some of those issues and the hotel industry. And I think they feel like it'll be a win-win. I did not anticipate them to come for midterms like they did. Mm-hmm. So I was surprised about that. But again, long-term is what they feel like they need more of. They feel like they have ample options for transient people. So whether it be vacation rentals, travelers for work or whatever, there's more than enough, they feel like, in the hotel industry to address those types of things. And so what I think from a state perspective, they feel like what they really need is people to get into the long-term rental game, which again, I've done that. That's not bad either. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been blessed on both sides. So either way, they both have their own set of challenges and their own sets of rewards. So I'm thinking, honestly, more than anything, what the state is looking at is a win-win for helping the hotel industry and helping people with more options for long-term rentals. That's what I think the state is looking at. I don't know that it's a big conspiracy.
Yeah.
I think and hey, if you still stay in the game, we increase our revenue. So I think they think it's a win-win-win.
Man, I really want to get someone from the state level to talk about some of this, because I just wonder from their side, what are they trying to...
We met a certain congresswoman.
We did.
We might want to reach out.
Yo. That might be the move.
So before we say her name, I'm gonna let you reach out first, because that's the one who they said that she didn't come, right? So we're not gonna do that. We don't need to be an enemy of the state.
I like that now. Yeah. And
why don't we reach out to her?
Phone calls.
Yeah. I'm game.
Okay.
I have no problem with it, so I will do that.
They would be fun too.
Yeah,
be fun.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if she wants to talk to us about it.
Yeah.
All
right. So, any final thoughts? My final thoughts on this is I'm going to be in this space for the long term. So, I'm going to be pivoting as needed and making sure things are priced accordingly. That way, I can still remain at a certain profitability. And if you get into these things, this is something to keep in mind. New hosts, new entrepreneurs, these things will always happen. They will always happen. So having preparations, the flexibility to pivot is important, and also having options with your investments, I'm finding is important. So when I get anything, I'm looking for at least multiple exit strategies to do with it. Midterm, short-term, midterm, long-term, like the more, the better. So that way you can pivot if you start to see your margins shrink too much, then you can, you're flexible to move in a direction to increase that because you already did the legwork beforehand. So that's my recommendation and my final thoughts.
All right. I think those are good thoughts. So, diversity is the name of the game for any business that you want to stick around long term. So, I'm actually excited. I think when people exit the space, I'll be able to pick up some more stuff at great prices. I really see that it can be a win-win across the board. So, I know I probably, I'm missing Anthony right now. He's my 8-man corner.
Shout out Anthony.
Anthony.
He'll be back. He was busy today.
But I think it'll be fine. I think some people be salty, but I think it'll be fine.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time.
Probably cost more than my check. No disrespect, I just ain't flexing for them fools on the net. Question the setting, yeah, but you can't mistake the value. City sleeping on me like they hooked on volume. Catch a wave or float away. Sick of sitting sideline, I made a play. Anxious about opinions, they gon' hate me anyways. Either rise to the occasion or you caving like souffle. Attaché, no Hemingway.